Malaysian rainforest, among the world's oldest ecosystems, supports a rich variety of life and features distinct adaptations in plants and animals. Its layered structure allows efficient use of resources like sunlight, water, and nutrients. Let's first look at the emergent layer. The emergent layer has the tallest trees, exceeding 70 meters, which rise above all other layers. These trees are exposed to the most amount of sunlight, strong winds, and heavy rainfall. Large birds like rhinoceros hornbills and eagles use the heights to hunt and to roost. Flying foxes, which are fruit bats, and Wallace's flying frog also thrive in this open space. Now the trees have waxy leaves. These reduce water loss and withstand intense sunlight. As a result, they can survive in these harsh conditions. Let's now look at the canopy layer. The canopy layer forms a dense, leafy roof. This blocks out about 80% of the sunlight, creating shade below. It's commonly described as the umbrella of the rainforest. It's home to much of the rainforest biodiversity, because this is where most of the food is produced. For example, the fig tree behind us. Here we expect to see orangutans and gibbons swinging between the branches, while gliding lizards and colugos navigate effortlessly. Toucans, butterflies, and various insects feed on fruits and nectar. Here we see the start of drip-tip leaves. These are pointed tips and smooth surfaces on a leaf which allow water to run off quickly. This prevents leaves from breaking or any fungi from taking root. Epiphytes. Orchids and ferns grow on trees to reach sunlight without using energy to grow their trunks. As a result, are able to photosynthesize without needing growth. Next, the understory. This is a dim, humid environment with 5 to 7% of sunlight reaching the forest floor. Plant and animal life has to be adapted to limited light conditions. Clouded leopards and sun bears roam here, while snakes like the reticulated python hunt prey. Amphibians like the Malaysian horned frog and insects like stick bugs camouflage among the vegetation. We would expect to see lots of lianas here. These are woody vines that climb up taller trees to conserve energy while reaching sunlight. You would also expect to see shade-tolerant plants like ferns and smaller palms thriving in the limited light. Let's now look at the forest floor. The forest floor is very dark and damp, receiving less than 2% of total sunlight, with the soil rich in nutrients from decomposing organic matter. We could expect to see Malayan tigers, tapirs and pangolins foraging on the ground, while termites and beetles help to decompose matter alongside the perfect conditions for bacterial breakdown. We would expect to find lots of buttress roots. These are found at the bottom with wide flaring roots, providing stability in the thin nutrient-poor soil while maximizing maximum nutrient absorption. These roots are spread shallow and wide. This is not only to absorb as many nutrients from the thin fertile layer as possible, but also to stabilize the emergent trees that many of them now support. The wider the root base, the more stable the trees become, as a result decreasing the risk of the tree being blown over in strong winds. Plants like shrubs and mosses have broad leaves to capture as much sunlight as possible due to the low levels of sunlight that reach here. As previously stated, this is around 2 to 3%. Let's now look at interdependence in the rainforest. This means how different biotic and abiotic factors can depend on each other. First, we need to understand nutrient cycling. In rainforests, plants and animals and microorganisms work together to recycle nutrients. For example, decomposers like fungi and bacteria break down dead organic material. This releases nutrients into the soil that plants absorb for growth. We can see, starting from the top, trees shed their leaves all year round due to the good conditions for plant growth. Decaying vegetation decomposes rapidly, and so nutrients enter the soil. These are very quickly taken up by the shallow roots needing for the trees to grow. As a result, they then grow rapidly. Food webs. Rainforest organisms are interconnected through complex food webs. For instance, insects feed on plants, birds eat the larger insects, and larger predators then consume the birds. This interdependence ensures energy flow and ecosystem balance. We can see an example of a rainforest food chain in the image to our right. Pollination and seed dispersal. Many rainforest plants rely on animals like bees, bats and birds for pollination and seed dispersal. These mutualistic relationships allow plants to reproduce and maintain high levels of biodiversity. Lastly, let's look at climate regulation. The rainforest ecosystem depends on its dense vegetation to regulate humidity and rainfall. Trees then release water vapour through transpiration, contributing to the water cycle, which in turn sustains all life forms in the region. Here's an example 4-mark question asking about interdependence in the rainforest. Explain how plants, animals and the soil in a tropical rainforest are interdependent. 4 marks. Climate regulation. Plants in the tropical rainforest release water vapour through transpiration, contributing to the formation of clouds and maintaining the water cycle. This process regulates humidity and rainfall, which in turn supports the survival of animals and the growth of vegetation. This dense vegetation helps stabilise the local and global climate, creating a suitable habitat for all living organisms in the ecosystem. Nutrient cycling. The decomposition of organic matter such as fallen leaves and dead animals by fungi and bacteria enriches the soil with nutrients. Plants absorb these nutrients for growth, while animals rely on the plants for food. In turn, animals contribute to the nutrient cycle through waste and the eventual decomposition of their remains, ensuring a continuous supply of essential nutrients to the ecosystem. These are just 2 examples, but you could use any as previously discussed. Like and subscribe for more Bond Hill Geography content.